Sunday on Denver 7.
Guns in the hands of children produce terrible results.
A community now one step closer to closure. The arrest made in the murder investigation of a Metro teen almost 2 months ago, and the proposal on the table that could increase safety in our parks.
Anytime you're in something that's so new, it's going to take a little time.
There's a special feeling in this locker room, special feeling about where we're going.
Are you ready to ride Broncos country? It's game day against the Raiders in Las Vegas. We've got some pregame guesses on who will take the dub in today's rivalry game. And a grocery store only stocking the newest products while also helping underserved communities. 7 News, I'm Jessica Crawford. Here's some stories that we're following for you today. First, we have a major update in the murder investigation of a 14-year-old boy in Denver this summer. Police have arrested a 17-year-old in connection with the murder of JoJo Aragon. He was found stabbed, beaten, and shot in a park near the Southwest Rec Center in Denver. That was back on August 8th, just 2 days before his 15th birthday. And we now know the suspect went to school with JoJo last year. Plus, the two had been talking this summer about the sale of a gun. Police confirmed the day of the sale is the day that the murder took place. Neighbors say that killing has rocked their community.
It scares the hell out of me. I have a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old boy, and it scares me to death. And when this happened to JoJo, this rocked all of us to our core. We just couldn't even imagine that a child at 14 years old could be killed in our neighborhood.
Neighbors tell us they want more cameras, better lighting around the rec center too. We've got an update on a budget proposal that could do just that in a few minutes, and the Denver DA will decide whether to charge the suspect in this case as an adult. We also now have more information on the breaking news that we first brought you yesterday morning. Aurora police say they were chasing 2 men accused of robbing a 7-Eleven in the city before officers shot and killed one of those suspects near DIA. Police had to use a pit maneuver to stop that suspect's car, and police say one of the suspects ran away while threatening officers with a gun. 3 officers then shot and killed him. The second suspect was taken into custody. One officer was taken to the hospital with injuries from the pit maneuver. That officer is expected to be okay. Thornton police are asking for your help finding this man, 61-year-old James Bolden. He was last seen at the Alpine Living Center off Thornton Parkway at 5 o'clock last night. He's 6'1" and weighs 124 pounds. He does have dementia, diabetes. He gets seizures as well. If you do see this man, call Thornton police. It is peak. It is hard for me to say this, y'all. It is peak leaf peeping season. All right now. But what about some leaves with some snow? Well, that's the sight that a lot of people are taking in this weekend. This is from Guanella Pass outside of Georgetown. Meteorologist Stacey Donaldson is in for Katie this morning. Stacey, why is it so hard to say peak leaf peeping?
There's a lot of peas happening in there. We are looking good here up in the high country and here for the Front Range. And yes, leaf peeping, it is at peak up in the high country. So you might want to head that direction. But also, it's a Broncos Sunday. 63 degrees at 11 a.m., 68 degrees by 1 p.m. if you're planning on tailgating at home today. Beautiful weather here across the Front Range. We are expecting a few scattered showers later this afternoon. Our high only 70 degrees. So it's going to feel pretty good for this afternoon and a lot more like fall. So we'll have some clouds in the area as we get through the afternoon, scattered showers later on today, and then they'll pass through and we'll clear it up for tonight. Our forecast highs in the low 70s here from Littleton to Denver into Aurora. We'll talk more about how cool it will stay on our 7-day forecast coming up.
Stacey, thank you. Well, there has been a jump in crimes at Denver parks, and now the Parks and Rec Department is pushing for upgrades. Denver 7's Brandon Richard is live with us now. And Brandon, how's the department planning on using more than $1 million?
Well, Jessica, you mentioned the murder of JoJo Aragon, and as you saw, that death impacted the neighbors. It really shocked that community, especially those who visit or live near the Southwest Recreation Center. That's why the city councilman for that district says he supports upgrading security at parks and recreation centers across the city of Denver. City Councilman Kevin Flynn says that a lot of people just assumed that cameras at the rec center would help police catch Aragon's killer quickly, but he says there were no cameras. In fact, we learned there are no cameras at several of Denver's 30 rec centers. But the Parks and Recreation Department is requesting an additional $1.6 million in their budget next year to upgrade security, including adding cameras at some of those facilities.
Across this country, we're seeing more crime. So it's not we're seeing more crime in just parks. It's just across the whole country. And so we're just trying to make sure that the parks that we enjoy in Denver, Colorado, are as safe as possible.
Now, right now, it's unclear if the Southwest Recreation Center would get any of those cameras, those new cameras, but Parks and Recreation says it's definitely on their list for consideration. They say they will make that determination later, and it'll be based on the total number of crimes at each location. We're live in Denver this morning. Brandon Richard, Denver 7.
All right, Brandon, thank you for the update. Ian has lightened up after making landfall as a Category 4 storm in Florida and a Category 1 storm in South Carolina last week. Dozens of people are now dead and rescues continue to happen in Florida. Parts of the southwestern coast of the state are unrecognizable, with an estimated 900,000 people still without power. One of the hardest hit areas is Sanibel Island, where the only road to get there from the mainland is now in pieces.
Part of the dining room roof collapsed right into the dining room. That's when we started to get concerned.
I bet.
And we stayed there. We had to spend the night there.
Officials say it could take years to rebuild. Denver 7 Gives is partnering with the Scripps Howard Fund for hurricane relief. Our teams in Florida will work with local organizations to make sure that your donations go to the people who need them. And we are making it very easy to donate. You can text STORM to 50155 and follow the prompts. You can also scan the QR code that is right there on your screen right now, or visit denver7.com/hurricane relief. All right, Broncos country, it is almost time for kickoff. The Broncos face the Raiders in Las Vegas this afternoon. That is starting at 2:25. And while the Broncos technically do have a winning record so far this season, Broncos insider Troy Rink says the team is not where it should be.
Listen, it's embarrassing. The Broncos have one red zone touchdown. So I ask, is it time for Russell Wilson to stop trying to be Drew Brees and get out of the pocket and use his legs to make big plays?
Anytime you're in something that's so new, whether it be him, on this team with all these new players, with new coaching staff, it's going to take a little time. It's not just going to get up there and roll right away. And that's just the reality of it. There's some great moments, and we just need those to be more consistent.
I've been on a lot of teams, played a lot of sports, played a lot of games, a lot of big moments and everything else. And there's a special feeling in this locker room, a special feeling about where we're going, where we're headed, and we believe in that.
The Broncos defense does everything well right now, and frankly, it starts with Pat Surtain II. He turns receivers into Chick-fil-A. They're never open on Sundays. His matchup against Davante Adams, that could determine who wins this game.
I don't want to give up too much of the game plan, but it's, he's a heck of a cover guy. And, Davante's a tough cover for anybody, even the best corners in the league. And we just got to change up the looks on him. So,
Broncos fans will have extra venom for this one with Josh McDaniels on the other side as coach of the Raiders. He's 5-20 in his NFL career as the guy in charge. That's this week's Rink and File. For Denver 7, I'm Troy Rink.
Oh, that Chick-fil-A joke kind of hurt there. Well, there are more people who are headed to the moon.
I know we all feel humbled and honored just to be a small part of that.
When this SpaceX crew is blasting off to the International Space Station.